Polysorbate, and I will be your host for this. Welcome to an episode. This is the first episode of Tunnel Time Tales. And tonight's tale is the story of Pico Rivera. And this takes place actually in this tunnel about 120 years ago. Now, when Pico was a small little child, he used to explore the LA River before it was filled with concrete. Yet, oddly enough, some of the tributaries underground were made out of concrete, secreted by dinosaurs, and calcinate was created to make the many wonderful minerals and stalactites and stalagmites. So it was late at night in November, quite cold, and Pico was at the entrance of this tunnel, and he came in. He was looking for a goat. He was a goat rancher with his parents when he owned the property in this area. So he came in looking for this goat, and he was going down. He was hearing it. It was making a sound like a toad for some reason. No one knows why. And it's in the records, in the archives, in the basement of the downtown LA library to reestablish and reaffirm this tale. Pico went into the tunnel, and the tunnel had a phosphorescent glow, a scintillating glow, and he was going and he was listening to the dainty little somber footsteps of Margarita, his pet goat, and like that. Do you hear a goat sound? And he went deeper, and oddly enough, this secreted bicarbonate concrete glue, and it was glowing a greenish hue, and he was going down. And he found his goat, and as he touched it, he heard yet another sound deeper into the caverns underneath what would soon in the future be downtown Los Angeles. It was a sound, no, not of a bear, it was a sound of a crustacean, of a little crawfish that had been cast carelessly in the river only to wind up miles into this drainage pipe that was here before the buildings and before the LA River was coated in concrete generations down the line. And he was going and walking, and it was getting cold. It was getting really cold. And then it was getting slimy. He had to hold on to stuff, and there were cockroaches he was holding on to. They were moving, but driving him faster. And he found a crawfish. And would you believe it was in a pool, a 3-tiered level pool. And the first level were mermaids, little like shrimp mermaids. And on the second level, there were like little growing Fiji mermaids. And then on the top level were seahorses. And do you know on these seahorses, there were like little shriveled Spanish monkey men. And they were singing a song. And it sounded a little bit like this, the chant. Yes, and then he started to get small, really small, and he was swimming on the top level with the seahorses, and he fell down to the Fiji mermaids, and would you believe it, was his goat at the bottom, and he went down to the bottom to retrieve his goat, and his goat grew really big and started to glow an orange, reddish color, and he rode it, and then a fireball came down at him, coming closer, and then a flood behind the fireball, and there was a fireball inside of a flood, and it brought him out violently into the LA River, and then the island just lit on fire, but there was a good thing that happened. It created charcoal that grew special lichen and moss that made more crawdads. So this crawdad that he so generously saved with the help of his goat and one of the Fiji mermaids made an island that we call Crawdad Island, thanks to Pico Rivera. Stay tuned for episode 2 when we tell another story, live from the drainage pipe room. Tunnel time!